Welcome to the Tower Yoga Podcast, where we dive deep into the heart of yoga and community. Come along with us as we explore the transformative power of yoga, share insights, and inspire one another on this journey of life. I'm Kelly Williams, and I'm your host and the co-founder of Tower Yoga. Thank you for joining our yoga community. Hello and welcome in to the Tower Yoga Podcast. I am here today with a special guest, Julie Congi from the Bike Station. Julie, would you introduce yourself and maybe share a little bit about your personal background with bikes and your love of them and community and how Bike Station started?
Sure. Thank you so much, Kelly, for having me and Tower Yoga and Farron for putting this together. I've always just been a cyclist and a big advocate for getting people on bikes. And later in life, after going on lots of groups rides, found the love of actual bicycle mechanics and working on bikes. And so here I am doing an event with you guys, and love to spread the word of Bike Station in the community and get some of you yogis out there and teach you guys how to work on your bike.
That is so exciting. I also, to be honest, I don't encounter a lot of women who are bike mechanics or really know how to work on their bike so much. So I just think it's really cool that just through the love of riding, you found an interest in the mechanics of it. But then also it's really inspiring from someone who is also an avid cyclist I like mountain biking and commuting. Those are kind of my two avenues right now. But sometimes I will be riding solo on the trail and I'm thinking, you might have to hike your bike really far if something happens because I don't really know how to fix mechanicals on my bike, So it's really, really inspiring. Not only are you able to help others in working on their bikes, but you could inspire them to potentially learn how to help themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that's a reason that maybe prohibits or hinders some people from getting on their bikes in the first place? Like maybe they're scared if something goes wrong?
Sure. I think a lot of times people, just the basics, learning how to change a flat tire. I think sometimes when you get a flat, you leave the bike in the garage and they don't touch the bike until next season. And they're afraid of taking the tire off because they don't know how to release the brake. They don't want it, put the bike in the car and bring it all the way to a bicycle shop to get it fixed, instead of just being able to do it at home, buying a tube and then going home and putting a tube in and changing your tire and pumping it up at the correct PSI and getting back on the road. So I think there's a lot of people that are scared. Bikes are one of the last things we can actually work on and learn. Like, if our cell phone is broken, we have to take it to a professional. Bikes, you can actually work on it at home with a couple of tools, a crescent wrench and a screwdriver, and you can pretty much get by with a little tune on your bicycle if you know the basics of the way it works.
That's so cool. So I want to back it up a little bit. We got connected with you through my husband, Jameson, and he works at Fresno City College, and he rides his bike. He is a commuter cyclist. He's done lots of bike touring in the past. We did a bike tour for our honeymoon. He also loves riding mountain bikes. He's just like bike crazy. We share one car because he's just like, I don't want to drive a car. If I have to go out of town, I'll use our one car. And so I think his students see him cycling to school and stuff like that. And he was talking to one of his students and she mentioned Bike Station. And that's how he kind of got turned on to what you're all about, what you're doing, and was super excited to put something together where we could collaborate because even in our hot studio, the Mandala, There's a huge section in the lobby that could be used for retail. It could be used for so many things. No, he wanted bike parking. He's like, it's he loves it so much. So this is like just merging two of his loves so much together. So will you tell us a little bit about Bike Station and like how it started?
Sure. So I'm originally from Sacramento, California, and there is a place there called the Sacramento Bicycle Kitchen. And when my wife and we moved back from New Orleans to Sacramento, I had my bike shipped, and I didn't know the first thing about mechanics. And I brought my bike to the kitchen, and there were bike stands, there was tools to use, there was knowledgeable volunteers, and they taught me how to just even adjust my headset, because when they shipped my bikes, my handlebars were crooked because that's how they could fit the bikes into the shipping container. And they showed me how to use it. I had the tools in my hands. They gave me the knowledge of how to fix it. And then the next week I came back to bring my other bike. And this gentleman, who's one of my mentors now too, said, "Why don't you start volunteering here?" So I started volunteering at the Sacramento Bicycle Kitchen every week, every Friday. It was from 10 to 2 p.m. And I started learning how to take apart bikes at first. Junky bikes that were pretty much not able to fix. So, but there were still good components on the actual bike. So let's say a brake lever that was still decent that we could recycle and repurpose and use on another bike. So I was taking apart the bikes and dismantling them and learning that each part of the bike had a name and had a place to go. So that's how I started. And then a year later after that, I became a paid bicycle mechanic at a local bicycle shop in Sacramento. And I just started learning, and still volunteering, of course, at the bike kitchen. And I've worked with other nonprofits before, and I always knew about, how a bike kitchen ran, but actually being part of it and being part of the group really inspired me to do something in Fresno, because when my wife and I moved here, I Googled nonprofit bicycle kitchens and I didn't find one. And I thought to myself, how am I going to make friends? How am I going to find my
Mm-hmm.
people? How am I going to get the lay of the land, my community? I was kind of surprised that they didn't have one. So I said, I'm going to start one. And I went to my mentor and I said, what do I do? How do I do this? And he told me, connect with an advocacy group, a cycling advocacy group in Fresno that already knows, that has some insight. And I Google searched bicycle advocacy Fresno, and I found Fresno County Bicycle Coalition. And I emailed them and I said, "Hey, I'm Julie. I want to start this program." And they introduced me with a gentleman that owns Tower Velo. His name's Chris Eacock, and he and I and Fresno County Bicycle Coalition developed the bike station with the help of volunteers, of course, because it's a group effort. But we started it the next month. I literally got here in October 2021, and we started Bike Station November 2021.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah. So, and then we've been doing it ever since. So, and it's just been, it's like a wheel. It just keeps moving
Mm-hmm.
and rotating, and new things that are happening. And yeah, so that's kind of like the backstory of how Bike Station came to
That's
be.
really cool. I've been to Bike Kitchen in Sac before. I always love how bike friendly Sac is, Davis, of course. And that must have been kind of a shock for you to get used to a different culture here in Fresno, sadly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're glad you're here because you brought something to our community that was obviously so very needed. So thank you. Another question I have, how do you and your wife feel about tandem bicycles? Are you for them or not?
You know, I that makes me think of when we rented a canoe together and we couldn't get the timing together and it was like a fight. So I don't know. I think it's for some people, you
Yeah.
know, we're both leaders. So we're both trying to lead, someone's got to just sit there and trust
Hmm.
the person in the back. you know. But I think it's really cute when I see people on a tandem.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like people go in like one of two categories. They're like divorce mobile or it's something that brings you closer
Right.
together. Jameson and I, we like our own things and that we have our own ways of going about the world, but we love riding a tandem bike. We don't do it all the time, definitely not when mountain biking and stuff, but that's what we did on
Hmm.
our honeymoon tour and
Cute.
it's really fun. So, yeah, but that's funny. So, Tower Yoga is hosting Bike Station on Saturday, May 18th, outside the mandala. So, that's our hot space. And you'll be set up right outside. It'll be post group ride, I feel. And then you'll be set up, and Goldstein's will be opening an hour early. I heard that they want to put a lot of bicycle themed uh, drinks on tap for us, and there might even be a little bit of a discount. So that's exciting. But tell us what it's going to look like. What should people expect when they show up on Saturday, May 18th, and you're set up outside of the mandala?
Sure. So we're going to probably have check-in around 8:30, and coffee will be provided for purchase by Sad Tire Bike. And the ride will take off probably around 9 a.m. No later. Kickstands up by like 9:05. And the ride's going to be hosted by the Historical Preservation of Fresno, and they're going to be going through points of interest in the Tower District, historical homes, buildings that are on the historical registry sources. And like, for example, like the cheese factory is in there and some famous people that have lived in Fresno and some other places that possibly we drive by, and we never even notice, but have some history to it. There's going to be a docent that's going to be guiding each stop and talking about it. You'll be able to get off your bikes and go into some of these buildings and ask your questions. So it's going to be like a little history lesson around the Tower District. And that'll be an actual like an interactive 3-hour bike event. And then of course Tower Yoga, you guys are going to be having your classes.
Yeah, there's classes going on.
Okay, cool. And then Bike Station will be setting up, and we'll be offering our free bicycle clinic. So anybody who's listening or um, can bring their bike to get worked on. We're going to teach you how to adjust your gears, adjust your brakes, how to change a flat tire. Please ask as many questions as you can. And then we're also going to have a taco truck there, I think,
Mm-hmm.
Lajat. So it's just, taco, beer, and
Come
bikes
on.
and yoga. It's
Let's
like,
go.
come on, let's
I'm for
go.
it. Sold.
Right. So sign me
Sounds
up.
like a great
Let's do it
Saturday.
tomorrow.
Yeah. So will people have to bring bike locks if they want to get out and kind of explore those historical sites, or is there going to be someone watching over the bikes?
You're going to probably much be on your bike, and when you get off, you're going to be in a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not probably going to be any time to lock
Mm-hmm.
up. I'm pretty sure that you would bring your bike into the factory if you're going to the cheese
Mm-hmm.
factory. Um, but everybody that's on the ride, even the docent, is going to be on their bike.
Power in
So,
numbers. So yeah, you can tell I've
right.
gotten a bike or two stolen. I'm like, oh,
Me too.
all right. And then if people maybe if they can't make it to the historic ride, hopefully they can because that's so cool. I can't wait. But say someone can't make it for any reason, are they still able to come to the bike station and get their bike fixed up?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. If you don't make it to the ride, it's, you pick your event.
Okay.
But, yeah, the bike station will be going on. So you don't have to be a member of any of these, groups. You just come, anybody gets help.
And how does it work? Is there like a set price? Is it a sliding scale or
So we are a free bicycle clinic, but we always accept
Mhm.
donations. So if anybody wants to donate, we'll be happy to accept the donation. All that money goes back to our program. So we have tubes and we have cable housing and cables and brake pads. So if we see something on a bike that needs it, we don't hesitate. We will put it on the bike, and we're not asking for any compensation. But if people do donate it, it just goes back so we can purchase more stuff.
Mhm.
we run out of chain lube like crazy because a lot of people bring in their rusted chains. So we spray that chain lube just to get
Their bike's
those
been
wheels
sitting in
moving
the
again.
backyard
Yeah.
forever. They
Yep.
come in, they're like, "Can you fix my bike?" You're like, "I need
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
bottles of chain lube." So,
Right.
do people just support with financial donations, or do you take donations of like parts and chain lube and that kind of stuff, or is it mostly just financial?
People reach out to Fresno County Bicycle Coalition and they'll donate bikes. Sometimes we
Mm.
get some amazing bikes, and we'll refurbish them and then we'll put them for sale. And so that's how sometimes we get money. Other than we've gotten 2 grants. Our first grant was from New Belgium Brewery, which really kick-started the program. Because in the beginning, I was just using my own tools and Chris's tools from Tower Velo, and then Bike Kitchen from Sacramento, I wrote them a letter and I was like, hey, I started this program. We're doing it. We need tools. And they sent us a check and we were able to get these amazing Pedro tool set. And we've just been growing our tools. Like we'll just buy tools here and there. Just we're like, oh, we need more screws, Phillips screws. Somehow they're always missing, or 15 wrenches, millimeter wrenches. They're always wandering off. We can't find them, but little by little, we build our tool collection. Yeah, we also collect kids' bikes too. We donate
Mm.
kids' bikes to um, anybody that needs them. We have partnered with the Lions Club of Reedley, and they were gracious enough to pay us per kids' bikes that we've refurbished. Because kids' bikes cost money, an average of $25 per bike that we're refurbishing. Sometimes they might just need a little bit of work, but others, their back tire is bald, or they need new grips, their chain is totally rusted. So refurbishing these bikes costs money. So we've partnered with them, and they were gracious enough to pay for these kids' bikes, and they donated it to in their events, like the Blossom ride that they've had, or a safety ride that they've had in the past. So, and these bikes get distributed throughout their community in Reedley. And in Fresno, we are doing Earth Day coming up, and we're donating 15 kids bikes from Bike Station that we collect. And we partnered with Trek Bicycles here in Fresno, and they have a program where if you turn in a kid's bike, you can get another kid's bike with a discount. So they get a ton of these old
Mm.
Trek bikes that are still good, just the child has outgrown, and then we go pick it up. I bring it home. A couple of volunteers, we work on them in my backyard, and then we get the next event. I'm like, okay, it's time to get these bikes out. And then we find an event to do, and then we bring the bikes, and we match the bikes up with the kid, and there you
That's
go.
so exciting. That's so cool. So, on the event that we're doing together, if people have like bikes to donate or something like that, should they bring it to the event, or should they just reach out on Fresno Bike Coalition's website to try to find where you could do drop offs and stuff?
Yeah, definitely reach out. Space is limited for us. And I'm putting stuff in the back of my car to haul everything, but I would if people have an extra kids bike, it's still in decent condition. We don't want anything that's not rideable but still needs just a little TLC.
Mhm.
But yeah, definitely just reach out at fresnobike.org, or Julie at fresnobike.org, and we'd be happy to take your donations.
That is so cool. Is there any other way we could support the bike station that you can think of?
A lot of times it's just getting the word out. Even though we're free, advertising on social media costs money.
Mhm.
And if we don't pay for some of that advertising, nobody's going to show up to the event because of the algorithms of how social media works. And sometimes flyering is hard too, because we spend money on flyers and then they get ripped down, they get rained on. But word of mouth, telling people about Bike Station and just coming. You don't have to work on a bike each time. You just ride your bike or stop by, say hi, see what's going
Hang
on,
out.
hang out. Yeah, make new friends, talk shop.
Because it's very about community, like you were saying too, which it's like I so resonate with that. For us at Tower Yoga, it really is about community first and foremost. Yoga happens to be like the method. And it sounds like for you, it's about that almost first and foremost, especially moving here, not being from here. And it was like the bike and your ability and your experience and what you were inspired by, that's the method that you support the
Mm-hmm.
community. But it's about community.
Absolutely. Bicycles brings all backgrounds, all walks of life, and it's, not one bike like mountain biking. Just because you're a mountain biker doesn't mean a fixie person doesn't want to hang out with you. You could still share the same type of passion for the bicycle.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. And I don't do as many like road group rides anymore because I've just kind of moved away from road unless I'm commuting. But I really remember how broad the spectrum of people were on those rides. And that was always like so inspiring and so cool. It is something that I notice in mountain biking, maybe not everywhere, but it does seem to be a little bit less diverse, so that could be kind of cool to get more people out on the trail at some point. So
Hmm.
I'll have to think about that and how to support that. But that's for another maybe podcast and time. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's super beautiful. And even we just did a group ride for James and I's anniversary. And it was so fun to have, 50, 60 people out there, kids and people's partners. And, some people were like wanting to race to the front of the pack, and other people were just hanging out on their beach cruisers. And it was like all kinds of different bikes and people. And it was so beautiful. So, yeah. Speaking of just different people, can you share a memorable experience or story from helping someone with their bike that like stands out to you?
Sure, absolutely. There was a young girl that came, probably like preteen age, and she came with her sister and her mom. They all brought bikes, and this bike that the preteen girl brought was kind of like a Stingeray, those old school Schwinn's that has those ape hangers. A really cool looking bike, and I knew it was probably like a hand-me-down that was passed down, like maybe somebody, neighbor gave it to her. But I know she was really excited about getting that bike. Bike was ready to ride, and they took the bike down, and she wanted to test ride it. We could see that she was having a little issue just balancing at first. And one of the volunteers, Edna, who's my friend, is a licensed cycling instructor, got with her and started teaching her how to ride the bike and helping her balance and how to put your foot placement and get that momentum. And she was just working with her back and forth. And then by the end of the clinic was over, she was riding that bike all over the place.
Oh my gosh,
So,
that's so
yeah.
cool.
Oh, yeah.
There was, when we went on the group ride, there was someone who came on the ride, like borrowed someone's bike because she didn't have one. We start riding, and one of the other friends like checked in on her, like, "You good? You cool?" And she was like, "Yeah, I haven't ridden a bike since I was 13." But because she's been doing so much yoga, I think she had a little bit more of the balance than maybe she would
Hmm.
otherwise. And she like figured it out. And it's like that, age old saying, like, it's like riding a bike. Like, once you know how, you know how.
Hmm.
And so it'd been a long time, but she got back on that thing, and it was still there. She's like, I still got it. So that's so cool.
Nice.
Which makes me, curious about you, like being a part of some initiative such as the one you're a part of. There's the love for sure that I'm imagine fuels you so much, and then there's inspiring stories like that are rewarding. But in this line of work, nonprofit stuff, you give a lot, and I know that there is a good deal of burnout or things like that can happen, or overwhelm. Are there any ways that you try to replenish your energy? Is it like you riding your bike? Do you do yoga? Yeah, do you do yoga? Yeah.
Nice. I've done yoga in the past. I've tried vinyasa. That is hard. Wow. But my wife, she goes to your studio. and our neighbor, and they go, they're weekend warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Bianca, my honey nut.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, she loves yoga, and she comes home sweating. She loves the hot yoga.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Bike Station, I have a great group of volunteers and a support system. And that's what makes it a lot easier, being able to rely on them to show up and be there each time, and also like not procrastinating. When I'm working on a Bike Station project, I try to do something once a day, something for Bike Station once a day.
Hmm.
So when that big event happens, we're prepared.
Hmm.
Yeah, I haven't felt that feeling yet since we're only like 2.5 years into
Maybe
it,
you won't
of
ever. Who
being
knows?
being burnt out. But yeah, definitely working on a bicycle. Sometimes I'm like, why do I even do this? Because bicycles are there's always something going on, and you get frustrated. I work as a mechanic too, my job, um,
Oh.
outside of Bike Station. And, bicycles are always revolving and always changing. There's new stuff coming out in the industry.
Hmm.
And, I think we have to be a little bit crazy to want to work on bikes,
Hmm.
just a little bit psycho.
Hmm. Yeah, I know a
Yeah.
couple bike mechanics. Yeah. It's a special type of individual, but I'm for it. I like it.
Nice. Oh yeah.
So how has the community responded to your initiative overall? I mean, I guess you said like, that you have a good group and you have events going on, but like the larger community, how's Fresno responded to this initiative?
Fresno, I feel like they are really happy to have it. Sometimes patrons have turned into volunteers, which
Mm.
speaks volumes. Or like, how do I get involved? And anybody can get involved with us. You don't have to know how to work on bikes. You'll start learning. That's how I started.
Hmm.
You can be at the check-in table. You can help pump up tires. There are so many other things that you can be a part of, even with just the advocacy side through the coalition, because we also do bike rodeos, and we teach kids how to ride safe, and we do helmet fittings, and we give away free helmets. So there's so much more than just the bike station itself that people can get involved in. But a lot of times I hear from people here in Fresno, how come you guys don't do this more often? And I'm like, I know, right? I
Hmm.
know. So that makes me think they want more.
Hmm.
And I want to give them more, but, we're just a small little pop up right now. And one day,
Yeah, it'll
we'd love to grow it
grow.
into something else.
Well,
Hmm.
after the group ride, we put out, because like 50, 60 people came. It was so fun. And we put out a story of like, how often when you want to do this? And people pretty much are like, as much as possible. So I think we're trying to
Hmm.
land on maybe like once a month or every other month, just
Hmm.
because it
Hmm.
takes a lot to like organize and stuff like that. But yeah. So are you part of like, do you like to do the group rides at these events and then you're there, or do you have to set up and stuff and wait for people like while people are riding?
Usually we're set up and I wait, but like there's other groups here in Fresno that ride, and I ride with like No Town Mob, No Breaks, No Fakes. I rode with the Fresno Cycling Club, Cruiser Mob. I've rode with Bike Party Fresno. So there's plenty of rides out there that you can go to that happen throughout the week. It's not just like a weekend thing. So, but when we have events, yeah, we're setting up. We're waiting for people to get done with their ride to come see us.
Cool.
There's
Cool.
no FOMO there for me. I get plenty riding in.
Yeah. Oh, good. What's one of your favorite routes that you love in town?
So I am more of like a cruiser. That's my lifestyle. I like to go slow. I am not trying to get my miles in. I like to just look around and enjoy the atmosphere.
Hmm.
Um, and I got an e-bike too, so I guess I am going faster. So I'll go from all the way up to like Fresno City, all the way down to downtown, and do that nice little loop.
Mm,
Even up to Fig Garden. I like going up to the Fig Garden district. Still learning the streets of Fresno. It's a huge city.
mm-hmm.
I didn't know that Fresno was 30th largest city in America.
Mm-hmm.
we're a big city and there's a lot that needs to be done with biking, and I see it happening. It's, with the new bike lanes and the cycle tracks and all these bikey groups and partnering with people like you guys that love cycling is just going to help Fresno become more bike friendly.
Completely, completely. So you kind of mentioned like you're in your second year and you definitely have a vision for expanding and it growing like with time. Are there any like specific future plans or goals that you have for Bike Station?
The main goal is to one day have an actual brick and mortar, an actual shop where people can go and rummage through the bins and buy parts that are cheap and be able to put it on their bicycle. And when you go to, like, example, my shop, I love working there, but sometimes these bikes are brought in and people want it fixed and the bike's not even worth $30, $40. And the mechanical side and the labor side and the parts side is like $100.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to still keep bikes a economical way of transportation for people.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the main goal is to have a shop one day where people can come learn how to work on their bikes too, and have small classes and how to change a flat tire or how to true a wheel, just basic mechanical classes. And that helps everybody. That helps grow the cycling community, which helps other businesses that sell bikes.
Totally. And there's always going to be those people who want like the new bike, the most up to date thing. Like you said, it's always changing. There's
Mm-hmm.
going to be that there, but that's kind of like a whole separate thing than like helping people mobilize in our
Mm-hmm.
cities. It's like I was at a screening called Poverty and Power, and it was on, poverty and the politicians like within Central Valley. And there was a couple people from Fresno who were in the documentary that they were screening. And there was like a little panel after. And when the question was asked in the question and answer after, how like what can we do to help like move these different initiatives and like bills along at like the higher up, they're like, just come to the meetings, come to the town hall meetings. But I was thinking, well, some people can't get there because of transportation, because the bus stopped running at
Mm-hmm.
a certain point, or maybe they don't have internet access, so you can't live stream in. And I like my brain was thinking about a bike, you can get somewhere like 3 times faster than like on foot, but then that's like a whole thing too. So that's where my brain went during the discussion. I didn't have time to like say like, is there a way that people can get bikes or anything like that? But here we are having this conversation. And so it's like, it's so great and it's so beautiful. And I love the idea of having like an in-person spot for that. That's just so cool. And you could do so much through that. And Jameson even used to teach yoga at the bike shop. Our friends owned it for like 15 years. It was called Sunnyside Bicycles.
Mm-hmm.
And then they sold to Trek and all that kind of stuff. And then
Mm-hmm.
so once they sold to Trek, Trek is a great company, but it was less mom and pop. And so they were like, yeah, like, I don't think you're going to do yoga here, like, but it was really cool. We would do like a little group ride, and then
Mm-hmm.
he would teach some yoga specifically for people like who pedal, who maybe, aren't as flexible and that kind of stuff. So I could see all kinds of fun sort of intersections of things happening, and like a little library section. And I
Absolutely.
don't know, it could be so cool.
Absolutely. I think so too. A little coffee station, yeah, library. I love that idea. A little place. My friend, we were talking about, we could do photography and have like a dark room,
Yeah.
just like creative space,
Whatever the heck you want.
so,
Yeah.
right. And like have rides start there. We had a ride called the WTF ride, Women's Trans Femme Ride,
Cool.
and like have like a space for people to go and feel inclusive,
Yes.
that's welcoming, or have like an all women's night of mechanical learning.
Hmm.
Um,
I
so yeah,
love that.
the ideas are
The
endless.
ideas are
It's just, we
endless.
got to build it. We got to
Yeah.
build it. They'll
It
come.
starts here.
Hmm.
Yeah, completely. It starts here.
Yep.
So thank you for bringing this to our community. Thank you for following like a tug or a pull in your heart and starting this, and I can't wait to be a part of it. I can't wait for our event and for future things. I look forward to watching you grow and expand, and I myself can think of maybe some creative ways to contribute. And I'm really excited for our event. Again, that's happening on Saturday, May 18th. And what time is it again?
Registration's at 8:30 and the ride's at 9.
Cool.
And you can register at fresnobike.org. Free to register.
We will for sure put a link in the show notes to donate to Bike Station. And also, where can people find you and follow Bike Station?
Sure. On Facebook, Fresno Bike Station. On Instagram, Fresno Bike Station. And of course, fresnobike.org. You can keep up with other events, not just Bike Station, because we're having a Farmers Day Market bike ride that's coming up. There's, and next month, you guys are probably listening to this right now in May, but May is bike month. So get out there and ride your bikes, people.
Oh yeah. May is bike month. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Well, I'm glad we have a bike event planned.
Yep. It's perfect for us. Thank you.
That works out. That works out. Well, again, just Julie, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for partnering with us. Thank you for your time to give us a little bit of your own backstory, and maybe we can get you into yoga at some point. Maybe we'll have to do a yoga for cyclists class. Maybe we'll get you in that way.
I'm down. Thank you so much for having me.
Be well. Thanks again for listening in and joining our yoga community. If it so resonates, please share this episode with a friend. Remember, the inner light of awareness within me honors the inner light of awareness within you. Until next time, stay grounded, stay present, and keep flowing with grace.